Welcome back to this lovely Friday morning. It's National Whiskey Day. Who knew? That's something to celebrate. Courtney met up with the broadcast wine and spirits expert Haley Hamilton recently to hear all about it. Take a look.
Saturday is World Whiskey Day, and you guys, we are going to kick off and go ahead and start celebrating with our resident wine and spirits guru, Haley Hamilton. Welcome, Haley.
Thanks, Courtney.
You always bring the tastiest liquor, and I have a feeling today is no exception.
Well, I think it's always good to have, a little cocktail on a Friday. So, and tomorrow is World Whiskey Day, and who knew that there was such a thing?
I'm glad that you have brought it to all of our attention, so that we can engage in this national,
exactly, a
worldwide holiday.
Fantastic thing to celebrate, and it's really interesting because whiskey is made throughout the world. You've got Scotch, you've got Irish whiskey, you've got bourbon, you have all of these different things that kind of go into the whiskey category. And so the first one I brought is actually made right here in Dallas.
Oh, who knew?
It's called Texas. Well, it's called Texas Silver Star Spirit Whiskey.
Okay.
Nice long name.
Texas Silver Star Spirit Whiskey.
And it's made just up the road in Carrollton, and some former kind of beverage guys that were all working in the beverage industry fell in love with bourbon, thought it was a fun thing to start making it. You can't technically call it bourbon, so it is a Texas whiskey.
Okay.
But really nice, light, kind of lots of good caramely, vanilla-y notes. Beautiful.
Vanilla, okay.
I think that.
What's the price point on it?
It is about $30, $40. You can get it at Goodies, PKs, a handful of different stores are getting their distribution.
And whiskey is something I recently learned. The price point can range all the way up into from 30, 40 up into the hundreds.
Right. And you can really the reason it's not as inexpensive as some other spirits is because you do have to age them. They are aged in a barrel, and just that time in the process in the barrels and all that costs a little bit more.
Okay, now this is a brand that we all know.
And I am such a Macallan fan. I feel
like we've talked about this before. Like you brought it before on the show, and I think I had my first whiskey.
I think I try to get you indoctrinated in it.
Yeah, you get me to sprout chest hairs every time you bring whiskey.
But Macallan, I think, is always a good go-to. They do age it in sherry barrels, which I think is just gorgeous.
Oh, that's actually not bad.
That's good. And so, and it's for basically any kind of gifting. It's a great hostess gift. It's something that everyone loves. You can find.
This is a good maybe early Father's Day gift, or like great for a bachelor party.
Any kind of and I will say,
birthday.
I was always, my sweetheart is a big Scotch drinker. With him, I've started sipping Scotch, and you can really it's a lot like wine.
I mean, this is you poured a big.
Well, that's so next we're going to have a cocktail. The reason that this is a cocktail is Maker's Mark. Last weekend or a couple weeks ago with the Kentucky Derby, it is their kind of spirit of choice.
Okay.
And so made a little cocktail for us though. This is called their Pub, made with some ginger beer and a little bourbon.
So, but what about that saying, beer before liquor, never been sicker? And like people say not to mix beer and liquor, but you're telling me I can mix beer and liquor.
It's ginger beer.
Okay, so this isn't going to totally mess me up for 48 hours.
Exactly. You're not like mixing a Coors Light
and some Tito's.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't know that I would recommend that.
But a lot of people say you can't mix beer and liquor, but ginger beer with a whiskey could be a little bit more acceptable
and ginger
beer
tasty. is in a lot of different cocktails. Yes,
and this is very good.
It's beautiful. It probably needs a touch more ice, and so that's why I water it down a little bit. The last one I did bring, which I just think the presentation is gorgeous.
This is cool.
The Highland Park has started this very Nordic theme, and this is the second in their line. They introduced Thor last year, and this is Loki. It's an expensive bottle, but it's a 15-year aged. It's about $250. You can find it at Specs in Dallas. I think this is something that you'd want to have on your bar. And
this is just a cool presentation.
It's such a gorgeous thing, and the beauty of all of these different things, they're all kind of similar flavors with those kind of caramely notes and lots of orange flowers.
I was going to ask you, when we're shopping for a whiskey, like I'm kind of a whiskey virgin, what am I looking for? I mean, I would go towards a name that I know, but what am I looking for when I'm buying one?
I would always, especially in so many of our liquor stores and our spirit stores in town, there's some really, really knowledgeable people that can help you. I personally I love Macallan because I like
I trust you.
the characteristics that sherry brings in, and Highland Park has a lot of those similar.
Awesome. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Bottoms up.
Happy Whiskey Day.
Happy Whiskey Day. You guys, to find more about Haley online, you can go to dallasuncorked.org, or you can find her D Magazine, sidedish.dmagazine.com.